Hey everybody, it's Black Dog. Doing well. I hope you all are too. Uh, First video in a little bit. Things have been a bit busy. So let's get down to it. I want to say hello and welcome to all my new subscribers. And welcome and thank you to my solid core subscribers, especially the Wet Chat community on PlayStation Network. You guys are the greatest. So let's get started. Once you complete the game, or even before you complete the main game, it's kind of nice to have a nice little planet to call home. You know, where you can build your own base and make it your own and give it your own style and flair. And the type of planet is really up to you. If you want a harsh environment or an easy environment like a paradise world, that's up to you. The type of building that you do is entirely up to you. There's a huge and wonderful build mechanic in this game, and you can come out with some beautiful, beautiful bases. You don't have to have just two prefab buildings and a landing pad. You can. That's up to you. This is geared more towards those folks who want a nice home base, a nice little house in an alien prairie. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to start out with some basics, and then we're going to move to a more advanced, and then into some glitch building as we progress, all right? So let's get started. One of the first things, of course, is pick out your base location. I've got a nice little seaside area here, and I've got my base computer out on that island. Now, prior to, earlier years, a couple of years ago when I started this game, once you set your base computer down, it was there. And if you wanted to move it, well, you better move it before you get started. Otherwise, you were stuck where it was, and it was generally out in the open and pretty obvious, and, people went through some pretty good leaps to camouflage it and hide it. So what we're looking to do now, you can move your base computer. So now we've just plopped down a base computer, claimed the base, and we're ready to get started. All right, so one of the first things that I'm going to always do when I'm about to build a new base is, assuming you have a freighter, just go ahead and call that in overhead. Okay, that's for supplies, necessities, etc. So you've got your freighter with all of your storage units on there and all the stuff that you're going to need. And then the next thing you want to make sure that you have, it's a good idea to have a good grouping of your core elements. So oxygen, carbon, condensed carbon, silicate powder, ferrite dust, pure ferrite, magnetized, dihydrogen, sodium, copper, uranium, silver, gold, etc. Just have a good supply of those, or at least the ability to farm and resupply. And then you should be good to go. So, couple of basics. basic number one is terrain regrowth. So let's say I want a small outbuilding right here as this hillside comes down the beach. Now let's open up our build menu. We press up on our D-pad, that brings our build menu. Then we have several main menus in there. There's deployable technology, large and prefab structures, timber, stone, and alloy structures. These are all different walls, ceilings, floors, doors, stairs, etc. Our advanced technologies, power and industry, furnishings, decoration, exotic decorations, wall art, and finally, for those that started the game long enough ago, the legacy structures, which were the original wood, concrete, and metal parts. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to open our build menu. So let's say we want a nice little, let's go with stone. I really like stone. So let's say we want a nice little stone house right here, a nice little stone outbuilding. So we take our floor panel and we put it down and ka-chunk. And we've got a floor panel. And you see how it eats into the terrain? The floor panel's kind of in the terrain. So if I want to extend it back some, see that? We've got terrain issues. And I can take my terrain manipulator and I can get that terrain off of there. See that? The thing is that it's going to regrow. All of this, like at least this half of it right here, this whole little half right here, all of that's going to regrow. So in a month, I come back and it's going to have grown over like that. And then I would have to come back in here and, you know, remove the terrain. And that's just not really my thing. It's not for me. So here, let's restore this terrain. Oop, in just a second. There we go. All right, there. The terrain is now restored. The same thing if I wanted a, quote, cave base. So let's say I dig out a nice little tunnel and then I go inside the hill and I dig out this nice little cavern. And I open my build menu and squeeze in a room, right? So now I've got my little underground room. Well, like I said, in a month, let's say a new game comes out and I go and I play this new game and I have a good time, and then I come back to No Man's Sky and my building, my base, is completely and utterly buried. like it's gone. Where's my base, right? And if I spawn in, I might actually spawn in underground. So let's go down here and, ooh, there it is. We're going to go ahead and we're going to remove all of this. And then we're going to use our handy little terrain manipulator and restore it all back. Okay, so now the proper way, if you want an underground house, look for a cave. You know, don't try to make a cave. Look for an existing cave in the game. You'll be much happier at not having to dig your house out every time you load in. And to avoid having this problem of putting down a floor panel and having it grow over, what we figured out is really, really simple. You take the small stone wall, like that, and we'll stick one underneath. We'll stick one above, one underneath, and one underneath that, so we've got 3. Now we'll put one across. Come on, snap in there. Now, for those that don't know, by clicking my left stick, I'm in build camera, which is a combination of camera mode and build mode, which allows me to move around, gives me a lot more freedom in my designs, gives me a lot more movement, so that I can come way, way up and then come back down over the top of my design. And now I have a flat level pad that will not regrow, and I can make this my outbuilding. And there's several things that you can do. You can put stairs, both narrow and wide ramp stairs. You can take the stone sloping panel and you can see you can vary the angle on that to give high stair rails, normal stair rails. See, we've got this little area right here where it doesn't quite meet, so what we can do is we can take another stone ramp, put it there, take, where's our little, there it is, sloping stone panel, and you notice if we put it right there, it's good. If we put it here under the first one, it changes that first one. You see that? We take it away, the first one has no top layer. See? But if we put that second stone panel underneath, come on, go under there. All right, it doesn't want to go under there. Well, the point I was trying to make, if you'll look, several of your build items have these yellow marks in the upper left-hand corner. So what that is a variant. So the stone wall has a base, a midsection, and a top section, right? So if I'm making this 3 high, I picked a stone wall. 1, 2, 3. And you can see each one is different. Well, let's say I want them to all look like the top one. So what I'll do is pull up my build menu, go to stone wall, view variant, and then pick stone wall top. And then each layer will look the same, okay? The same thing if I want them all to be the mid layer. I'll view the variant. Here, we'll use a different wall. The large stone window, it has a variant. So I'll view variant. There's 1, 2, and 3. So if I pick large stone window and just put 3 up, each of the 3 are going to have a slightly different look. But if I all want them to look like the base right there, the bottom one, then I pick it, view variant, pick large stone window base, and now all 3 look the same. So I'm hoping that will clear a little bit up for you, is that each in the wood, you're going to find this. You're going to find it in the stone. And you're going to find it in the alloy. Where each succeeding layer looks different. So if you want it to be the same, press triangle for view variant, pick that variant that you want, and then it will all look the same. So let's get rid of some of this noise here. All right, so we need stone and sloping panel, and we'll get that in, and then we'll do a small stone wall under here. Just close out that gap. Now we've got a nice little walkway up, and here's our stone room. So let's go with the top large window. Is that the top large window? It certainly is. And then for a door, we'll use stone frontage top, just to stay within the design we have. And then for a roof, we'll go with something interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead and I can use stone floor panels for the roof. And the way to do that is pick your floor panel, go into your build camera, go up with your left stick, move your build camera up, then with your right stick, look down, might have to turn, and boom, floor panel on the roof. Let's get a good look at them. Okay, both of those grills are turned the same direction, so we're gonna call this good. Let's get some light on this. There we go. Now let's say we're gonna leave this for now, but it's a little dark and we want some light. So let's say we want a porch light. So there are several lights available, and some of them require power and some of them do not. So it becomes an experimentation on what requires power. Some of the older lights, the blue light, pink, white, red, green, yellow, lab lamp, ceiling light, capped standing light, rounded standing light, squared standing light, they require power. Light floors require power. Light boxes require power. But lamps, oddly enough, this tube light and these signs do not require power. So here's the thing. Some things require power and some do not. So let's address the situation of power real quick. So if location is what your main goal is, then I would not worry about power too much. If you want a good power spot, simply hold your left trigger and then move your D-pad to the right to get power survey mode. Now, I don't have a power hotspot nearby, so I can move my base to a power hotspot, or I can leave my base here. Personally, I want my base here. So there's several ways to power a base without the hotspot. And those are the biofuel reactor and the solar panel, both of which technically need battery backup in order to run 24 hours a day. It also helps to put things like teleporters or other machinery on a proximity switch, so that the only time it's on is when you're near it. Okay, so let's start. We're going to want a little power, so let's go with 2 solar panels to 1 battery. You can do more than that to 1 battery, but the minimum ratio is 2 solar panels, 1 battery. Were I you and have the option, the only way I would use the biofuel reactor is if that's the only option I had. It is pretty much a generator. So you have to put fuel into it, and it has to run, and it has to generate electricity. Solar panels, pretty self-explanatory. Anytime the sun rises, the solar panel opens and generates electricity. Electromagnetic generators, for those you need the power hotspot, and we do not have one nearby. So solar panels it is. I need some metal plating, so we'll make up 5 or 6 metal, 8 or 10 metal plates here, and we're going to make a couple of solar panels. Now, a lot of people don't want their solar panels showing, you know, cluttering up the area. There's a fix for that. Solar panels not only work underwater, so if you have water nearby, you can pop them underwater. They not only work there, but they work underground. So here's what we do. We dig a little hole, all right? And we pop a couple of solar panels. And the battery down there. Oh, it looks like we need some condensed carbon. All right, it's an easy fix. My carbon, split it, throw it in my refiner, fuel my refiner. We're gonna let that run. While that's running, we're gonna go into our build menu, pick our electric wiring. We're going to come see how when I pick the electric wiring out of the build menu, when I focus on the solar panels, there's a small greenish or yellowish circle and a small dot in the center. That means that I've got the wire on the connection. If you see lightning bolts, that means that's where you connect it. If you see red lightning bolts, that means there's no power. So let's connect by pressing R2, dragging it to the other solar panel, and then pressing R2 again to connect the two. Now go out of build menu. That should be good. Put that in my exosuit. Back into build menu, battery. Now we have a battery. So we connect then our solar panels to the battery. And if you look at your battery, you'll see it's storing a charge rate. Okay? So, let's say we want a red light. So we pick the red light, bring that over to our door, Figure our orientation just exactly how we want it. And right trigger R2 and clip it in. Now, if we press triangle, that brings up our wire, and we can then run the wire from the light to our battery. And woohoo, our light is on. Now once we're done there, we can pull out our terrain manipulator, switch our alternate to restore, and bury that battery and solar panels, and there they're out of the way. But then you say, but Black Dog, you got a wire hanging out, and it looks awkward. Well, there's a fix for that too. So we switch back up, open our little hole in the ground, go into Build menu, and in Advanced Technology, Electrical Cloaking Unit. And what this does, we'll pop that down in the ground so it's not visible, and we'll bury it too. And what that does is make that wire not be there. It's still there, but you can't see it. So let's say you don't want to use a lot of power. You don't want to mess with wiring. Like I said, there are several light options where you have that ability. So if you want, say, this particular ceiling light, it's going to need to be powered. But if you don't want to power it, you can always use one of these. The wall light, the hanging lamp, the triple hanging lamp, the circular hanging lamp, the splayed hanging lamp, the tube light, and the table lamp. None of those need power. Let's get that big circular light out of here. Oop. So see, all of these will light up without power. And I'm using left trigger to delete, and I'm making sure that what I delete is highlighted gray and it says target part, so that I'm not deleting my floor panel or my ceiling or my wall or any of that other stuff. So let's do, now these are wonderful because they will fit on any surface. You can use them, shrink them, enlarge them. So you can even actually shrink them down to where they're yard lights and put them as little decorations. you've got these little lamps, these little night lights coming up. Again, you want to light outside your front door, but you don't want to deal with wires. These wall lamps be turned several different ways. They can also be shrunk or enlarged. There we go. And some of these are quite bright, and some of these not so much. They're a little dimmer. And again, they can be shrunken. There we go. They can be enlarged. And the pieces that you can build with are just ridiculously crazy amount of pieces. You know, you can build Eiffel Towers and just an amazing amount of stuff. The only thing that I can say, truly say, is that there's no limit other than your own imagination. Feel free to go nuts and figure it out for yourself. There's a lot of things that you can do. As you can tell, you can get really, really crazy with it. So you're only limited by your imagination once you pick up the basics. And then once you've got a basic house with some basic lights, then you're perfectly able to start with some basic furnishings. So let's do maybe a nice carpet on the rug. So I'm going to ease that in position. And then up at the top center of the screen, you're going to see several options. Rotate, scale, free placement versus snap placement, edit build, toggle camera, cycle part. So I'm going to go into toggle camera, which is build camera. That's going to allow me to come up. I'm going to come up to the ceiling. And then I'm going to look back down with my right stick to the floor. And then I'll be able to turn and manipulate and slide this carpet around. And it takes time, and it takes practice, and it takes work. But now I have a nice carpet there. Ta-da! So let's get us a nice sofa. Now if you press in doing, whether you're doing buildings or furniture, most items have their own color palette. So let's make our color palette change is pressing the big friendly touchpad in the center of our controller. And then we have white and orange. We have black and yellow, yellow and blue, teal, blue and white, blue and red, yellow and white, gray and red, gray and black. Usually I go for gray and black. It makes a nice black sofa. And a little wood grain. And press 0 and press R2. And there we have a nice sofa. And we can even sit down. All right? So, there we've got our sofa. Let's see. We'll use ornate stool, but we will pull it to the side of the sofa and shrink it just a little bit. And that will be our end tables. And, we'll take the triple hanging lamp and we will use our D-pad and scale that all the way down. Click L3, get into our build camera, and we're going to set that right on top of our little improvised end tables, and that will give us some improvised lamps. So again, it's, get into these menus, see what you can come up with, what you can do. Cycle around, turn them. You can cycle the axis on some of these. Some of them you cannot. So like a part that you could cycle the axis on would be this. Let's see, what can we cycle the axis on? Let's try that one, see if we can do it on that. Yeah, so if we click R3, click our right stick in, we can then cycle the axis that way. If we click it again, we can cycle the axis this way. If we click it again, we can turn it that way. So we have a complete 360-degree turn on a lot of these parts. Let's see, we'll use the light table. Nah. We'll use that over here, next to our little chair. So I'll bring the light table next to my chair, make it more or less level and even. And if I'm not sure how level and even it is, I can go into my build camera, go up to the ceiling, up as high as we can go, and then look down, and then I can move things around so that it looks nice and level and even. And I think we'll do something nice here. So let's take the kiln-fired pot. I'm going to shrink it just a hair. Put that right on the table. Now we're going to go over here to exotic decorations. Pick our Troglodyte tulip. Let's pick a nice, let's go yellow and, no, I don't like that one. Let's try yellow and blue. There we go. And then we're going to shrink that down. We're going to put that right in the middle of the pot. So we're going to click L3 to get into our build camera, come up. That right there. And boom. Now we got a nice flower plant growing. We've got our little side tables and couch, our nice little chair. So let's put something special in. How about a fireplace? And again, we can pick our colors and our different materials. We have concrete, rusted metal, stone, and my favorite, wood. So it has such a nice grain to it. See that? Nice grain wood. That's nice. Let's say we want to put something on top of our fireplace. So let's put, what goes on top of the fireplace? Here, we'll do a vintage teapot. So we're going to go into our build camera. We're going to move up top. We're going to locate the top of the fireplace. That'll put our vintage teapot in the green state, and we're going to click one there. And, let's see. That looks about even-ish. We're going to click one there. And we'll put the vintage cooking pan on the wall above and in between. Now, how about a nice picture? So we're going to pick the flat panel. Here, let me move, so I'm in the way. We're going to pick the flat panel. Let's make it, let's leave it white. And we're going to go to wall art. You see we have several designs, several decals, numbers, letters, borders, and posters. So let's make some wall art. Let's do blue Stargazer decal. With the purple Galactic Core decal. And let's see, what else can we do? Oh, let's give it our good old number 16. And let's say I don't like the white background. Let's say I want a black background. Now that I've got it up, I see it, but I don't like the white. So I'm going to open my build menu. I'm then going to press square to edit parts. I'm going to highlight flat panel. I'm going to press my touchpad in the center. That will bring up my color palette. And let's pick a different color. And there we go. We've now changed the color after we've hung the piece. We can do that with the couch. So open the build menu, press square to edit placed parts, target part, the sofa, pick the color we want, and back out, and we're all done. So I hope that kind of helps out on some minor builds. The next time we come back, we're going to come back and we're going to do some more intensive and more advanced builds. All right, so I want to thank everyone, my subscribers and my viewers and all of my core friends, and everyone, we will see you at another time.